Today we're going to be stream of consciousness journaling, and I'm gonna get into what it is, how you can do it, and my hot take thoughts on it. But first I wanna say thank you to Pentel for sponsoring today's video. And we actually just released the stream of consciousness journaling pack. It's the 6th journaling pack that we've released, and it's full of reds, pinks, and oranges to really showcase the passionate flow that can come out as you write. As always, it comes with a sticker sheet, and there are also free journal prompts for every pack, which you can find on pentel.com/CarrieWalker. All of the other journaling packs are there too if you're interested in getting one or several, including the new travel journal pack. This is the 7th journaling pack. That's right, we have released 2 packs this month, and I'll have a whole video dedicated to this journal pack as well. I think it has one of my favorite sticker sheets. Just look at how cute it is. Also, make sure to check my Instagram for giveaway information. We're gonna be launching 2 more packs next month, and we'll have 6 different giveaway winners who will each win one of those next 2 journaling packs. So go check it out. All of the links and information will be in the description down below. So now let's get to journaling. One of the things about stream of consciousness journaling is that it's uninterrupted. So instead of talking to you guys while I'm journaling and moving my camera around, I'm instead going to do a voiceover, and I'm gonna explain what I'm doing and why. That way I can still stay in the stream of consciousness flow while I'm writing, but you guys still know what's going on. And in my journaling, I'm actually gonna be starting out with stream of consciousness art journaling, and then I'll write afterwards. So let's get started. First things first, what is stream of consciousness journaling? It basically is a way of writing your continuous, unfiltered thoughts, feelings, and sensations. Instead of presenting your thoughts in a previously planned, thought out, and structured manner, stream of consciousness journaling can involve fragmented thoughts and ideas, run on sentences, and you don't really need to worry about grammar or punctuation. And like I already mentioned, it's also continuous, meaning that you just continue writing and writing, and you don't pause to regather your thoughts as you write. So when it comes to stream of consciousness art journaling, like you can see me doing here, it works pretty similarly. It's just art instead of writing. I'm just going with the flow and creating whatever first comes to mind without thinking or planning it out. You can use different colors, stickers, try out different random artistic things, make it messy. Just don't plan out your next move. I find that sometimes when you're just free-flowing and just creating whatever first comes to mind without really thinking about it, you can sometimes create and discover some really cool art. That's especially why I like using different pens and tools, because you can really just explore it as you're free-flowing. When it comes to stream of consciousness writing, I oftentimes will stick with using the same pen for the entire time so that I don't leave any room for myself to think about what I'm gonna write next when I'm switching pens. But feel free to switch it up if you'd like. You could even try out different techniques, such as writing for 1 minute with one color, completely uninterrupted, and then after that minute's up, you could take a little break. Maybe it's like 15 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute, and then you could choose a different color and then write a minute straight with that, and you can use those different colors to kind of differentiate between what you wrote for each minute. Because the act of stream of consciousness journaling is unstructured, there aren't really many rules to it overall, but I can give you guys some tips just so that it makes it a little bit easier. First of all, you want to find a nice, quiet place to do your journaling. Make it as comfortable as possible, ideally with little to no distractions, so that way you can just focus on your writing without being interrupted. This means putting your phone away. I mean, out of sight, out of the room, whatever you need to not have it be a distraction. Silence it, turn the vibrate off. Don't even have it anywhere near your journaling space so that you're not tempted to check it real quick, because even the presence of your phone can sometimes be a distraction, whether it's conscious or subconsciously distracting you. If it's helpful, you could put on some instrumental music in the background while you write. You could have the music potentially match the vibe of however you're feeling, or you could just write in the silence if that's what you prefer. You also don't need to worry about your handwriting while you're writing. I see a lot of people who like to match the speed of their writing with the speed of their thoughts, to the point where their handwriting is just completely illegible, because I feel like it's kind of impossible for your pen to completely keep up with how fast your thoughts can go. Oftentimes people do this intentionally so that they don't have the pressure of being able to read back on what they're writing and judge what they wrote, which could maybe make you more honest and open in the moment as you're writing, and then you can really just focus on the act of pouring out and streaming out your conscious thoughts. Personally though, I definitely don't mind messy handwriting when I'm doing stream of consciousness journaling. However, I do like to make it decently legible so that I can go back and face or reflect or reread what I wrote. I honestly feel like that's a good thing to work towards for self-growth. Overall though, you don't need to worry about grammar or punctuation or formatting though. Don't worry about it looking aesthetic or flowing in a logical manner or separating your thoughts into different paragraphs. Just keep writing, have it go in one continuous stream. stream, because the continuous part of it is what helps it be more raw and unaffected by potential overthinking. Also, there's a difference between when you write what just initially comes to your mind versus if you stop and reread what you've been writing and then think of what to write next. Also, you can try out different speeds of writing. So if you wanted to, you could try to write as quickly as your thoughts are moving, or you could try writing just at a faster pace than what you normally do. You could also try writing a little bit slower, just as long as it remains continuous. You could also try setting a time or length goal. So you could set a timer for 5, 10, 20 minutes and just write without stopping. Even after the timer goes off, if you're really in a flow, you could just keep going. Or alternatively, you could set out a length goal where you set out to write like 3 pages nonstop. Honestly, today's society is so filtered, so let this be a time of unfiltered thoughts. It doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to sound super eloquent. So now getting into my hot take thoughts, should stream of consciousness journaling be mindless? I feel like a lot of people would say yes, stream of consciousness journaling should be mindless. In fact, I bet a lot of people would say that that's kind of the whole point, to just kind of mindlessly stream out whatever's on your mind without thinking, with no rationale, and just let it out. But I personally think that continuous doesn't always have to equal mindless, and I honestly like the idea of having a little bit more intention behind a stream of consciousness journaling session. If you're just trying to unload, you can always just flow out whatever's on your heart. Sometimes you just need to grab your journal and write. But other times, I think it's important to take a deep breath before you write. Think about what you're going to write about and then let it flow. So maybe go into it with a little bit of direction and then just see where the flow takes you, because that flow might lead you into writing about other stuff as well. So it's not planned out, it just has some direction. I feel like mindlessly journaling kind of leans more into feeling like it doesn't have importance or it's not really valuable. And I think there's a lot of benefit to taking a step back and remaining in control of your mind as you're letting it flow. 2 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 5 kind of talks about this when it says to take every thought captive. So because of that, I don't necessarily think that your stream of consciousness journaling should be mindless, but rather it should be honest and unfiltered and a method of seizing your thoughts. It's a good way of practicing being in control of your thoughts as you're letting them flow out. And this is one of the reasons why I like having my stream of consciousness writing be decently legible, because then you can go back and reflect on those thoughts and see if you were really taking hold of your thoughts as you were releasing them. And if you didn't in your writing, then you can at least take them captive then as you're reading back on your thoughts in order to potentially grow or mature in the way that you think. I feel like it's just a really good way to strengthen your mind and try to practice remaining on a single thought process rather than jumping all over the place, which I know all too well. A lot of the times I feel like I have a squirrel brain that is jumping from one thought to the next, and sometimes it doesn't even make sense in my head. But writing out a stream of consciousness with the intentions of having some sort of direction and then going back and rereading it and tracing those thoughts in that stream of thoughts, you can then try to work towards having a more coherent, one-directioned stream, if that makes sense. So that way, even if you are touching on different points or topics with whatever you're writing about, it at least transitions from one thing to the next. Your writing doesn't need to be perfect, but it can be used as a tool for harnessing your thoughts in that act of free flow. And then the next time you practice stream of consciousness journaling, your thoughts might be a little bit more cohesive. And you could even track over time how your stream of consciousness writing changes. When I was looking into the exact definition of stream of consciousness journaling, I stumbled upon this paragraph, and I don't know where it's from because it didn't say, but it said, sometimes a stream of consciousness is best streamed upward rather than outward. Sometimes it's prayer that should be our safe place to share. Not all thoughts need to fall upon the ears and shoulders of another. Mull, wrestle, seek in the hidden places where grace covers all brokenness and the arrows of unhealed thoughts can fly about without poking eyes out along the way. Dare to let wisdom shape the arrows into daisies so that the undertone of our sounds may be girded with heaven. And it's here we can face the hardest of conflicts, sometimes without speaking a single word, large or small. I thought that was really striking, and it brings up a great point that your stream of consciousness writing can also be written in prayer. And again, it doesn't need to be mindless, but it could instead be an intentional flow of writing to explore your raw thoughts without overthinking. And before you start, gathering yourself in prayer or in art or just sitting in silence and being still could make all the difference in your stream of consciousness journaling. And again, again, that writing stream itself can be offered up as prayer. And just like with prayer, your writing doesn't have to be tidy or filtered or perfect, but it can be purposeful, and then you can grow from it. I just feel like there's a difference between sitting down and mindlessly writing and then not even rereading it versus sitting down with a purpose, having an intention behind your writing, and then letting your raw thoughts flow in an honest, unfiltered manner without interruption, continuously writing and just seeing where your thoughts take you. And then you can read back on it and reflect on what you wrote. So this is the completed stream of consciousness journal entry that I did. You can see the artwork on this side, and then obviously this is the writing over here. I only did this small little portion of writing, but like I mentioned earlier, you can also have a page goal where you try to do like 3 pages without stopping, or you could do 5 pages, 10 pages, however many you want. You could also do the time limit where you just set a timer for yourself and try to write for 5 or 10 or 20 minutes without stopping. I only did this though because I just wanted to have this double-paged spread that I could show you guys as an example. Honestly, overall, I like it a lot more than I was expecting. You can see I also decided to switch it up by writing in red pen, and that's how I started out my little writing section, is by mentioning that I was writing in red pen. Also, before you guys ask, I did journal on the previous page right before I started filming this video, which is why I didn't put a date or anything at the top of this journal entry, because I had already started my journal entry earlier. I really like these little flowy details here, and the chaos of everything inside is actually really fun to look at. It's not at all how I thought it would turn out because I really didn't have an end goal for this art portion, but I think it looks really neat. It's not something I would have ever created before if I was pausing and not thinking about what I was making. It's just a really cool collage. As for what I wrote, overall it pretty much follows one train of thought. I wasn't writing about anything crazy or personal just because I wanted it to stick to the literal stream of consciousness theme on what stream of consciousness writing is. At the end though, it came to my mind about how people say to think before you speak, which got me thinking about this specifically with journaling, if we should think before we write, or if we should just write without thinking. It's just an interesting little balance to think about. So hopefully this video gives you some sort of idea on what to do or where to start, or just some overall inspiration. If you're interested in getting the stream of consciousness journaling pack or the travel journal pack or any of the other journaling packs, make sure to check out the links in the description down below. You can find journaling packs on pentel.com as well as Amazon. And just a reminder, I'll have a whole YouTube video where I show how I use the travel journal pack. So make sure you stay tuned and subscribe so that you don't miss it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here and for supporting my channel. And if you stayed to this point of the video, then comment this emoji. I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys.